All right, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. We're gonna do tonight's agenda with Diana and myself. Jeff is not able to make it tonight. So please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, consideration of any changes or additions to the agenda. I have none.
I have nothing.
Okay. Approval of September 12th, 2023 minutes. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the September 12th, 2023 minutes as presented, written.
Okay, I'll second it. The ayes?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll move on to the reports. Highway and transfer station update. Clinton?
Summit Road is complete. I haven't heard from Vermont Rec when they're coming in to do the guide rails, but I'll reach out to them again. I've got a quote from CBC Paging for new radios. I didn't know if that was something that we could possibly use ARPA funding for, because the radios that we have now they're old. They don't get out as far anymore, and it's hard to get a hold of the guys when you need them.
Mm-hmm.
They go off of a repeater, so it's more close. I know a lot of towns have switched to them just because of they can get better communication with their vehicles. But I was looking for 6 radios for the trucks, the loader, grader, and 2 base stations, one for here and one for the town garage, and possibly a portable just to have as a backup. I know it's a monthly expense, but if it breaks, they repair it. So.
Okay, and this is good for 60 days.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it was July 14th when we got it, but it's been with everything going on. It's just kind of been on the back burner, but it's still
good.
Still good.
All right.
Because right now the loader doesn't have a radio in it yet, so I was trying to hold off.
All right. I just want to do the calculations, both.
Yep.
What it's going to be yearly.
It's what, 210?
If we did all 9, it would be 3,132 for the year.
Can we say that number again?
3,132, and that's with the spare.
Bear with me.
261 per month.
All right. So these are just rentals. So there's no extra costs.
No.
They
I
make
mean, you could buy them $1,400.
I see that.
a piece, but, I mean,
Right.
if they're gonna repair them if they need to be repaired or whatever.
I did ask them about buying outright and they said they would have to place an order and there's a backlog. So it would be quite a wait if we wanted to explore that option.
What do we have in our budget?
For radios,
0?
0, but
Would this fall under the passive equipment grant?
maybe,
It might. Absolutely might.
Look at the list.
it could cover a portion of it.
Yeah, so we'll explore the
Yeah.
grant, and I also think ARPA funding is part of that for the communication potentials, so, okay. We'll do our homework.
Yeah.
Okay,
Paving's all done, they just gotta come back and do the shoulders. Just trying to get caught up on some of the paving that he needs to do,
okay,
but and then the transfer station, I think we're getting there on that. I ordered a new sign for the waste oil, so it's gonna say used oil, instead of waste oil, so I ordered that, that'll be coming.
was that the one from Awesome Graphics?
That's a different one.
Okay,
That's for a sign for the scrap lumber to
Okay.
remind people that it should just be clean wood. And they can put that into production once you guys approve it, if you approve it.
okay,
I think all the other signage that we need is now there, aside from the
Yes.
okay,
scrap.
is that for the response to the Vermont?
Yes.
Okay,
So, and on that note, did you have more, Billy?
No,
Okay, I was just gonna say on that, I just gave you guys a hard copy of it, but this was sent to the state, our response, with all the documentation that was needed. And, new signs have been hung there, so the one place that doesn't have signage is the scrap, wood.
and what's that in here?
I think it's,
Towards the end.
right after the letter. I've got another one here, if you wanna just use that one.
And that makes us comply, so.
Yep.
That goes along with the response to the Vermont,
Yes.
DEC. I'll make a motion that we approve this quote to purchase the sign so we are compliant at the transfer station.
I'll second that.
The total is $146.50, and the ayes,
Aye.
aye. That way, this makes us compliant with the state. Now, were you getting a quote, Bovee, for the guardrails off of Healdville and,
we did, yes.
okay,
I didn't bring it with me, but,
okay. Jeff had mentioned it.
yeah, Vermont Rack was cheaper than Lafayette, so.
Yep, okay.
Why they were gonna do that while they were here doing Summit.
Okay. Okay, that was also for Branch Brook
Yep,
to alleviate that drop off, perfect.
yep.
Okay, moving on to town treasurer's update, monthly income and expense report.
So through September 30, there is one bank account that I consolidated. It was second on the list on the balance sheet. It was part of our general fund. It's now part of our community bank fund. There's a few more consolidations that may take place, but I'll talk about banking while you're looking at the balance sheet. I worked with our banker at Community Bank and we were able to change from sweep accounts that collateralize our monies to, it's called a third-party custodian. And in doing so, it's allows us to have one basically where all of our balances are tracked under our federal ID number. They're still collateralized with the same or almost the same securities coming from the same places, but it gives us access to their money market rates and a new checking account rate. So our general fund checking account is now 1.75% interest, and we're able to move our reserve funds into a money market at 3.25. And as well, I created a new money market for the general fund, which will regain that 3.25 interest rate as well. And also started 2 CDs that are short-term, one for 3 months, one for 6 months. Since we have the majority of our state education funding in hand, this allows us to take advantage of high interest, and then the CDs will become due just before the monies are due for that quarter. So we'll be earning 4% on a 6-month and 3.75 on a 3-month CD. So anticipating about $150,000 in interest earned from our money, which is sorely needed as we have spent lots on flooding. So hoping to curb or eliminate our need to borrow is the goal. So that's big banking update. Generally for the month of September, we had pretty much a trickle for property taxes that continue. Solid waste income still people kept buying stickers even though the price went up, so that was nice. No rebellion there. And we have not received our current month bill for the transfer station, so I can't say how we're meeting, balancing our costs with the new increase. And other than that, we did make our first monthly school payment, so $250,000, and we agreed with the school on what our schedule will be for the remainder of the year for the total of $3.343 million, and that's from now through May, well, June 1st, that will be paying that out. And you'll see we had some changes overall in our flooding, but not any major expenses this month compared to the majority of things were paid in August. But I did have an update from FEMA. I met with our representative and submitted, it's not finalized, but our overall inventory list of all of our damages, and that's based on estimates, so nothing is set in stone if we were to go over budget, but it gets the process moving and categorizes things so that if the federal government fails to pass a budget, we can still keep proceeding with various portions of our FEMA reimbursement process. And of course, all of our biggest projects were our most urgent, so that's overall will keep us moving through a slow process. Alright. Oh, and audit report. We finalized our fiscal year 2022 audit, and we had, the opinion was that everything was good, and that's about as far as I'm gonna go into that because I really wasn't here for that year, but if there are any questions, we do have the full audit report, and anybody can always come take a look. It's pretty straightforward, there were no real adjustments to things.
Is there any questions on the monthly expense reports? You already did your banking, the audit. Okay, we'll move on to listers update.
So you have before you errors and omissions request. We looked at that last year, it's a condition adjustment, and it was done through the Board of Abatement, which is, usually that doesn't happen that way. And after the taxpayer notified us, we looked, oh, why didn't that get changed? Well, it took a while to find the minutes of the abatement meeting and said, oh, no, they agreed to do that, so we're late getting it done. And so now it has to go through this procedure that someone else has looked at it.
That is just on that one property?
Just that one property.
Need a motion?
Yes.
I wanna make a motion that we accept the errors and omissions certificate as David presented.
I'll second it. The ayes?
Aye.
Aye.
And then you have the maintenance agreement from Nimerick for the new year, which we've already started working on. Those prices are the same as what we had last year. Same list of responsibilities they will do, and types of the listers, and we work together. Anyway, seemed to work out pretty good. We only had 4 grievances this past year using it, so.
I'll make a motion that we utilize Nimerick's contract, the same as last year's, to continue, the assessor's service agreement for fiscal year 24.
I'll second that.
The ayes?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Any questions on the listers update? Okay, moving on to the Mount Holly Planning Commission update.
So the big news is we have a town plan draft after working on it for 3 years. We've put out our notice for a hearing, which will be November 15th at 6 p.m. here in the town office. And we're still waiting back to hear. We have to get receipts from budding towns, and we're still waiting to hear back on all of those. So hopefully we will be able to go forward with the hearing, but we have a couple more days, about a week. And I'll be pestering them to respond to us. The other good news is I sent that draft as required to the state and asked them if it met the requirements for renewing the village designation, and they said it does.
Okay.
So I know you have that on your agenda, but that's a relief to hear before we get too far. And that's about it.
Just so I understand, that means that the requirement about the town plan approval is there an additional piece of paperwork that still needs to be filed to renew the village designation?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
But one of the, I think
This
you
is a
guys
small
got,
bit of good news.
it's a small
Yeah,
bit.
okay.
We're not quite there. It's still a long
Okay.
road. We have to get the town plan approved.
Mhm.
And we have to start the application for renewal for the designation and have that approved.
Okay, got it. Makes sense.
But you got a packet in the
Yes.
email last week, and one of the things on the checklist is there have to be a number of items in a town plan in order to even get in the door.
Okay,
And our town plan did not have those, but it does now, or at least the proposed town plan does.
Okay.
Small bit of good news.
great.
Any questions? Okay, moving to the Conservation Commission update.
Well, we had a very successful exposition of recycling at the Saturdays. I don't know whether you saw it or not. And we're in the process of
putting together a proposal so we can get some funds that were available from the Rutland County Solid Waste District. I think Caitlin put us onto those. And we've been talking with those folks. It looks quite likely that we'll be able to do it. One of the things which we're gonna propose is to get some funding to buy a number of composting bins that we'll then make available to town. And I think we can get them at quite reasonable cost. And we'll then ask people if they want to buy them. And we don't have enough to give away, so we're gonna. And the other thing that we are still working on is to respond to a potential grant opportunity from the Vermont Urban and Community Forestry Program. And I think we'll probably try and coordinate with the Conservation Trust on that too. So, but that's still in its infancy. Other than that, we are just proceeding on things we've been working on in the past. And we're still one person down, and we're hopefully have a couple of candidates, but we really haven't sort of closed the loop on any of them. So we don't know. And I think we have to present, they have to
Yes.
write to you folks.
They have to write a letter to the board.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's it.
Any questions? Okay, thank you. Now, new business, transfer station bids, did we receive any to
Yes.
open?
We received 2.
The first bid I'm going to open is a bid from Casellas. I don't know who this is.
It's Hubbard's.
That's Hubbard's. Okay. Okay, this is the bid as pricing, 40-yard breakaway compactor, zero sort recyclable materials, 230 to haul it. Processing is $160 a ton. The compactor rental is $215. 40-yard breakaway compactor, MSW. To haul it's $230. Disposals $140 a ton. Container rental is $50 a month. And the compactor unit is owned by the town. And the compactor rental would be owned by Casellas on the first one for the $215 a month. 40-yard open top to haul it, still $230. Disposals $140, and the container rental is $50. 30-yard open top to haul it's $290. Disposal, GHR Pittsford, Vermont rebate 75%. Current market value is $100 a ton, and that's for the metal. Compost services, 32-gallon cart. Pickup charge is $30 per cart per service. Then there is a fuel surcharge if the fuel is above $4.09 a gallon. It does not say what that is on that page. And that is through Casella. This is Hubbard Brothers. Their trucking is $240 per pull, and it's $130 per ton. C&D Waste is $240 per pull and $130 per ton. Zero Sort Recycling, $240 per pull. Then that's using the Mount Holly account at MRF. Metal, no trucking, no pay. They provide the box. Compost, they don't take care of it there, but could recommend AgriCycle. They take care of us with that, charging us approximately $25 per week for 2 toters. So those are the 2 that we have, and I think we're gonna have to sit down and do some
Apples to apples.
apples to apples, because there's a lot of information on these 2 pages, so we won't make this decision tonight, but we'll have it for the next meeting, because there is a lot to go through with that. Okay, moving to fiscal year 24, municipal planning grant housing study.
Oh, sorry, one last thing, separate from their bid, Hubbard, asked whether the town would be interested in selling the 2 empty waste containers that have been at the transfer station for a while. They just want to buy them off the town. They've offered $2,400
For the 2 or
for
a
the
piece?
for the 2.
Is that something we use, Clinton?
What's that?
Those 2 storage containers at the transfer?
No, we don't.
We use nothing with them.
No, we haven't used them for quite a few years.
What did we use them for?
They were for, hold on. They were used for when we used to separate our glass and cardboard and stuff before they went to the zero sort.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Now those are those 20-foot.
they're 30-yard containers.
So if we're not going to use them for anything, there's no sense in letting them sit there and rot.
And unfortunately, they came a couple weeks ago and grabbed one because it was a new driver and he didn't realize that because it said zero sort on the front of it, that he grabbed that. But I mean, he had to run over and take the trees out that were growing up in front of it. And never bothered looking in it, see if it was still empty or not. But so that one went for a ride. First time in 7 years. But.
So that's assuming you
Back
still
now?
have it.
No, it's back.
Is it?
Yeah, they brought it back.
Okay. So if it's nothing we're going to use, you sure before we go forward?
No, we're not using them.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we sell the containers to Hubbard for $2,400. Is there a second?
I'll second.
The ayes.
Aye.
Aye.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
So this is Randy DePron from Casella, and I'm not sure you guys actually own those containers.
Really?
Really?
Is there a tag on them, Clinton?
Is there a what?
A tag?
I have no idea. I mean, they've been here as long as I've been here.
Does
We're
Randy
not
have
using them,
reason,
they should.
does he know?
Randy, do you know by chance?
Well, back when I was working with Jeff Teeter to install the zero sort compactor, he asked that we leave them there because he thought he might use them for something, and then again, we never removed them. So they are blue. They do say Casella on them. So I'm pretty sure with it, we own those containers.
Come get them.
Okay, if that's the case and they're yours, come get them.
I mean, no, I'm not, obviously not at the office. I can do some more investigation tomorrow just to make sure that it back in all the old files that I have that's the case, but
And
I
you know
will
what? And I'm
obviously
gonna have
touch base with.
I'm gonna have Clinton go up and look tomorrow, for nameplates and stuff on them as well. Because if
Yep,
they're
that's
truly
right.
not the town's, I don't wanna sell them, but
I'd appreciate that.
But we can always charge rental fee for storage of them for 7 years.
Okay, we can talk about that.
Do you guys wanna say your motion's conditional on
Motion is
determining
conditional,
ownership?
motion is conditional on ownership. So,
Okay,
alright. So let's do some investigation too, if we can look back into our records. Okay, thank you, Randy. Okay, moving to the municipal planning grant housing study.
So this is, it went through the planning commission, but I'm gonna speak up because I would like to see us move forward with this so that we have information on what housing the town has. So that if we do want to make any decisions or review things like short-term rentals in the future, that we have the data that would allow us to review those things. As of right now, I don't think we have that information really in the way that would be helpful to make any informed decisions. So moving forward with the grant doesn't obligate us to anything other than actually applying for the grant, and then the state is funding heavily housing related grants this year, so I'm guessing that we're pretty likely to get it, but then we would be able to move forward with the study of our housing and pay someone or a company to do that for us.
So this is just for funding strictly to do the study.
And to, you build in a little for something similar to where we just had the Belmont Village Plan, where there can be town input and sharing the information with people, with residents.
There's nothing there that you think that will upset people about the study?
Oh, I can't claim that. I think people are, if they wanna be upset over something, they'll find something, but I don't. It's truly just analyzing what exists. It's not making a suggestion to make a change or do anything. It's just examining what we have. So if people might be upset, then they should be upset now because it's here. We're just looking at putting it all together.
This is just looking at housing in private homes and so forth.
Mm-hmm. It's just gonna give us the data and tell us what's here. It's not doing anything besides studying.
like this many are owned, these many are rental units.
Yeah, and I don't know the details of how they put together the data points. They're pulling it from various sources.
Yes,
That's basically what I was gonna ask, what are they studying? Like, are they looking at the listers files, or are they going out and
They're gonna do some of
looking at
that.
houses?
They're gonna do, I know from looking at reading the Vermont Journal and such, if anybody else has, all of our surrounding towns, almost every surrounding town, I think, has at least considered a housing study or had one done or proposed a short-term rental ordinance, and this is giving us the data to even maybe have that conversation if we decide we want to. But I don't know the details of how they pull together those various, the pieces. I know that the
Yeah.
state,
I'm
the
just
state
curious
would
what they were
be,
gonna study.
the state would be, this would be allowing us to ask the state to pay for that, though, it's not the town.
I'm okay with the study. Where I'm not okay is telling homeowners what they can do and cannot do with their homes. For me. So.
That's a different question.
Hmm?
That's a totally different question.
It is, but
Have the
it,
information before you can.
correct, but if we end up looking at saying a rental ordinance in the town, or, you know, an ordinance for Airbnbs, that's telling individuals
Yeah,
what
no,
they can and cannot do with their home.
I get
I
that.
have heartburn personally with that, because,
The issue is corporations.
so, I'm okay doing the study, as long as it's a study only, so.
That's all that this proposes.
Is there a motion?
Kind of mixed. Is this going to be available another time, or is there?
Is there a deadline?
There's a deadline, to apply, the deadline's November 1st, if we wait another year. You know, I'm new to the municipal stuff, but my concern is that all of the surrounding towns have already kind of gotten the jump on us. I don't want Mount Holly to be a target for, say, corporate ownership.
And there's no cost to us on this?
I have to put the full budget together, but it would be, if there is one, it would be minimal. The grant, so for this current planning grant that we had been doing, it was a $20,000 grant. The match was $2,000, so $18,000 by the state, $2,000 was committed by the town. We don't have to fully expend that, we just have to submit a budget proposal, so. Really, without having this conversation, I haven't dug into that level of detail, but it is a small match required. So say $1,000 or $2,000.
Okay. We can do some more digging on it and have a special meeting if necessary. I know you're concerned.
I think we'll need a special meeting
Okay.
anyways.
Okay, that's fine.
Especially
So
for these two.
let's. So I can see.
How much lead time would you need to prepare?
This way here on the 10th.
For the grant.
I mean, we have to start, at this point, the assumption would have to be that we're doing it and whether you end up approving it or not.
So we're the 10th today. Let's push this out and have a special meeting on the 17th.
Next week.
That'll give us a week's time just to look at
Next
this and do some
Tuesday.
research. Okay. We'll do that for next Tuesday at 6:30. Unless you want it earlier.
No, that's fine.
Okay. Okay. Okay, moving to social service policy.
This is just bringing up from last year the fact that we don't have a official written policy regarding how we approve or put on the ballot social services allocations. And Sue did previously have a kind of a working process that she used, but it has never been sort of codified in any way. Other towns have a very short, like third of a page, procedure for like must be received by this date in order to be added to the ballot. If they are not received by this date, they won't be added to the ballot. That kind of thing. Which right now, I think Carol's been following what Sue did, but we don't have it actually written as a policy. So on the town clerk listserv, Carol got last year, some other towns just submitted, here's what we have, here's what we have. So I think we could work from one of those if you guys want to. The reason it's on the agenda this month is the requests start coming in now to be added to the ballot for a town meeting. So
Okay, so why don't we take one of those and get it drafted up and put it on the agenda for
Next month.
next
Does
month?
that work? Okay.
Yep. Okay, moving to the government domain registration.
This is me again. Carol and I went to a training for clerks and treasurers, and this came up as a thing. Basically, we can request our Mount Holly VT.gov hours, and it doesn't cost anything. The federal government oversees these. You can't get them unless you're a government entity. So I shared the information with Caitlin. The full packet is signing off, requesting it if we would like to do that. We don't have to put it in use right away or anything, just hold it for the town.
I think that's a good idea.
And we can also have it redirect to our current, if you decide you wanna put it into use, you can have it redirect.
All right.
So that our,
But at least we'll have it
We
in
have it.
place.
And the only caveat, it did say they might ask you to renew annually, just to say, yes, we still want this, but
Yep.
it's
It's just,
available, we
It's a
can grab
renewal.
it, yeah.
right.
It's just an acknowledgement that it's still. Your town
the
still
letter,
exists.
you have to prepare a letter saying that you
You want it.
do want to
Yep.
claim it, so Liz drafted that.
Yeah, they put a
Yep.
nice template for it.
Okay.
So is there a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the .gov domain registration, apply for it.
I'll second it. Guys?
Aye.
Aye. Any questions? Okay, moving on. Renewal of town employee health insurance and health reimbursement accounts.
So this is just the annual renewal for Blue Cross Blue Shield and Health Equity. Let me just pull up the new number. Second here. Health Equity will be the same. That's the reimbursement account. And Blue Cross Blue Shield will be new estimated is $6,580.35 per month, which I don't know if you have handy what our this month was weird because we had an additional employee added, but
I don't have it.
it's very similar.
It's not a large, I think it's a small increase over.
Do we know what the increase?
Let me just see if I can pull it up quickly.
7,000 something, I think.
This month it was 7,000 because Chad's we paid
It's
3
3
months in
weeks.
one
Right,
because
yes.
they stack them when it's a new
Mhm.
employee.
Plus we had that credit come back
Plus
through
we had a
too.
credit for less.
I've got the lovely chart, but not the percentage.
Yeah. If you wanna skip this, I'll look it up while you guys are talking if you want.
Okay,
Going on to the next one.
we'll jump back. I'm just looking for an increase.
Yeah.
We'll go to the Belmont Village designation renewal.
Do you have anything else to add?
Well, our designation is expiring April 1st. I guess it's up to you whether you want to renew it
2024, right?
next year.
Mm-hmm.
It has many benefits. The most important for you probably is that it gives us priority for receiving grants and other funding from the state.
Mhm.
It's a really big deal. Puts us up at the top of the list for receiving money from the
Yeah, and
state.
that's provided with the new proposal for the plan, right?
So the new town plan
Right.
opens that possibility.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would expire.
Okay.
But it is a process, and I think we got a packet that just kind of walks through what's involved
Right.
with that. I don't think that packet, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Caitlin, but I don't think the packet had any action items in it, it's a
I think it was just like an
Reminder.
FYI, yeah, like this is coming.
and someone has to do it.
And there's a pretty extensive checklist. That's why I was asking before, like,
Yeah.
which piece was good, the good news. So there's fairly extensive. I didn't print it all out, but essentially, the select board does need to authorize the application. And then the regional planning commission has to kind of approve the
Approve the
planning
plan.
process, yeah.
Yep.
So,
Now, there was there some changes to it,
Changes to what?
to the Belmont plan?
Oh, the Belmont plan related to the municipal planning grant is distinct.
Totally separate.
Yeah, totally
Okay.
separate from this.
Okay,
So there was a lot of people in town that wanted the village designation boundary to be expanded, but
Mhm.
that's very unlikely to occur, frankly,
Right.
because any changes to the boundary require an entirely new application. And so my hope that we can just get the easy renewal,
the check. Yep.
supposedly easy.
All right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we renew our Belmont Village designation plan.
I'll second it. The ayes?
well, I think it's more that we're, just for the minutes, more that you're approving
Approving it.
the application, right?
Yep.
Like, okay, yeah.
So your motion is to approve the
To
application?
approve the application for the Belmont designation renewal.
I'll second it. The ayes?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now going back to the increase, did we have that?
I'm still trying
Okay.
to look it up, yeah, so.
My copy's in the suit, I just.
They don't give a straight percentage, so that's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
just trying to compare it to our last one.
Right.
Which won't actually be right, because Chad wasn't on the
'Cause-
last
right.
You
bill.
have to compare individuals, not the total.
Right.
I mean, we have time, we could bring that back to the next.
Yeah,
meeting as well.
yeah, we have till December.
Till December, okay, let's pull this back up on the next budget, cause I don't wanna say
Yeah.
we're gonna absorb a,
It's a huge hike.
huge hike.
Yeah.
We'll see what options are. Okay. Ongoing and old business, Rutland County Solid Waste District update, Mark sheet.
Good evening.
Evening, Mark.
How you doing?
Good.
Let me give you a quick little handout here. I do have a bunch more for those that wish it.
Anybody like a copy?
I would. Sure. I could take a bunch and you could pass it around to help the process.
Yeah, it's just that it's 3 months of Chad, so it
Right.
doesn't really, so we need to compare premium, premium and premium. Right. Yeah,
Yeah, so if we
that'd be nice to know. Let me do that.
2,000, 5,700.
Yeah.
Table's yours.
It's been a while since I was here
Mhm.
for the same program when it started in the spring, right after town meeting, pretty much. And we talked about this great grant opportunity that we got through the USDA. And being the only one, and I'm gonna just kind of get into it. It's kind of a simple overview right now as part of another part. Through the USDA Rural Development Grant, the letters of support from each of the member towns, Rutland County Solid Waste created and approved a project to increase recycling compost rates using outreach and educational community engagement. The big picture is the project works to align knowledge within the 12 rural communities within the district with the new laws, practices, and innovative tools where proficiency is needed to be efficient and successful when managing waste, solid waste. If you take a look of the laws, you take a look at Act 148. On July 1st, 2015, recyclables were banned from the landfill. It goes through all the little details of all those things that are banned from the landfill. On July 1st, leaf and yard debris, clean wood are banned from the landfill. So you need to recycle them or find out another place to get them. July 1st was probably a more recent one where food waste is banned. It is illegal to knowingly and wantonly throw your food scraps in the trash. You need to recycle. That's what the law says. Although we're not supposed to go into your bags. And I'll get into that a little bit more. We met with the board and the PAT team on April 11th. It's been a while to kick off their participation with the outreach program. Mailers were sent to all permanent Mount Holly residents on May 10th. Roughly 619 mailers went out to all the residents, hoping to show guidelines on how to participate in this three-step process. We sent out emails to all district residents with a permit, informing residents about this program. We also sent out MailChimp newsletters on June 29th explaining the details of the grant with district residents. We also hosted compost workshops in Mount Holly on July 29th, to try to gain participation. Some of the goals, as we identified way back when, and kind of reiterate here, to identify towns' needs as it relates to trash. When we talked about, gee, what is some of the challenges that you can see from Mount Holly trying to recycle, increase the diversion rates, trying to do the right thing, I guess, follow all the laws and also make it convenient for residents. We wanted to create partners and teams to build upon your needs. We want to build capacity to reduce, actually that's increased diversion rates. We want to increase recycling rates too. Introduce best management practices to increase residents' expendable income. If you recycle, you could save money. There are some models out there that if you do everything right, you can, or if you wanted to have someone pick it up, curbside would be a little bit more. You could have enough to go to Florida over a year. Introduce best management practices to decrease homeowners' taxes. One idea would be is does your transfer station pay for itself? And if it doesn't, good song. The difference would be that the taxpayers have to make up the difference. And some towns don't mind that. Some people would like to make it more. Increase awareness and change behavior, and provide a final analysis to the select board tonight. This is not going to be the final one, but just a quick recap of what we've done, what we found. At the end, we're going to be doing a full research paper with a lot more data-driven models and ideas that will be given out to all the boards and will contain all the towns that we did. So it gives you a chance to compare and contrast and try to have some ideas and build capacity to want to get into this program. We also, if you took the pre-test and the post-test, one of the things, if you could read through the lines, was we wanted to find out where people's attitudes were and how their behavior were or are when they deal with trash each week or each month or whatever. Some people are really adverse, they don't want to deal with it. Oh, I never did it. I'll have someone pick it up, I just want you to take it away. Like you turn the faucet on for the water, and all I care is the water to come on, or the light switch to come on, and all I care is to come on. And there's a lot of other things that happen before that light goes on and that water comes, or that trash goes away. As we, do you just don't know how to do it, or is it inconvenient? We ask questions that kind of try to pick through the weeds to find out how can we get you from, say, a good recycler to a better recycler. And with that information, we were able to find some information, and we'll take a look at the data. If you take a look at pre-survey participants rate, you have Mount Holly in the middle, and there was an overall average pre-survey participation of 18 individuals per town. Mount Holly had a total of 16 individuals participate in the pre-survey for a participation rate of 7.3. %. Next page talks about how do you dispose of your solid waste. We have two categories in a pie chart. 93% of you said at the local transfer station, which is fantastic, and 7% at home pickup service. The town's doing a lot for the people. That's good. Does your household recycle? And if so, how often? We had a pre-survey, and the big thing that comes out is every day. 63% of the people that responded said that they recycle every day. Those that took the post-test, 66% said they recycle every day. And even if you go once a week, 25% in the pre and 33% in the post. So those that took the post survey showed that they did better. Here's another thing we talked about. Does your household compost? And if so, how often? In the pre-survey, we see the biggest one here is every day. 38% of the people that responded said that they compost every day. The next biggest one is 19, where they say never, and then they say once a week. On the post survey, every day, it's 33% across the day. Across. So on the post survey, the town took a 38 to 33% decrease after taking the outreach training and taking the next quiz. So that's interesting. If you take a look at the next page, what items should never go into the trash bag or the landfill? We have an indication where you have little green things in the post, and if it's green, you did good. If it's red, you did worse afterward. And your town is one of the few that did all green. You actually answered 100%, except for those PLU stickers. PLU stickers are those little stickers that go on your fruit so that they can scan it and check the price? Yeah. Anyway, results. Mount Holly residents are above the overall average in most categories when it comes to knowledge in recyclable, composted, and hazardous waste. In general, Mount Holly residents have strong opinions about the importance of recycling and composting, with more than 50% of the participants who participated in recycling every day, and 35% of participants compost every day. Unfortunately, Rutland County Solid Waste District was unable to collect post-survey data from everyone who took the pre-survey. Most post-survey data would have allowed us to produce a more robust analysis. That goes true if we even had more in the pre-survey. Lessons learned. Is just to follow up what I just said, if we can get more people to participate in this, I think we could have, like, in any kind of research, the more the sample you have, the more credible the analysis is. And at that point, when you have credible analysis and credible information, you can base better decisions on as a board. So I think we've made some headway. We in this grant project did something that was unique that other people did in the similar programs in New England, is that we sent out mailers to everyone. And initially we didn't judge if we thought they were gonna be effective. We didn't judge, we just wanted to fill in that delta where it hasn't been done, so we can try and see what happens. And some people think it's junk mail, and some people do respond, and they do follow up with the pre-survey, the webinar, and make a phone call and information that they may need to take the post-survey. Pre and post-surveys only took about 5 minutes. And if you take another, say, 20 minutes, that's all you need to complete the program and make yourself available to get dramatically decreased composters in blue bins. These are tools that could help you divert up to 45% of your trash, the food waste. Now, that's like you get twice as much trash to throw away at the same price if you can divert your trash. And Mount Holly is doing a better than average job on that, which is really good. As I said, you needed to do both the pre-survey and the post-survey and the training in between to open yourself up on these ideas. I think the ideas that these incentives are dramatically decrease cost to participants was a helping factor, but I think people would like free stuff. I think perhaps free stuff could be something that could motivate people in the future. And more people talking about it. I mean, if the people that were in the room when we gave the pre-survey, how many took the pre-survey that day, and how many brought it home and got 2 people to do it, and who got those 2 other people to do it? That's the type of synergy I think that would increase participation and your numbers, I think. Mm-hmm. Because you're on a really good trend. It's just that missing thing, junk mail, or emails, I'm too busy. In this busy work style, it is, or the noise, or whatever they do, and life goes on. I think it's gonna be, I think we've made some great headway in meeting you guys, and, at the whole room, which I enjoyed, and maybe just continuing that relationship for information and assistance, and that's what we're here for. I know our outreach, Brian, is in touch with you guys on a very regular basis, and he's working through some ideas, which is really good. We had some emails go by recently on improvements, I guess you call them, and it came out really good. And it's just having the resources to do it. It's not rocket science. Everyone has a day, and then when we recoup, it makes it much better. I think so. So it's building relationships. I think we've definitely increased here. And on the next pages, I thank you for this opportunity, and all those that participated, and all those that wish to continue this project. Moving forward, as I said, we're going to get out the final paperwork to the towns, and I'm thinking that we could share everything, so you can compare and contrast like we did on the pre-survey. When we first met, I talked about other towns. We don't have the diversion rates yet because the Q3 quarter doesn't close until the end of this month. So I'm wondering how your diversion rates have changed from before and after. So, you know, we do a lot of data collections and, because we need data to make choices and decisions too. What is good, what's gonna be cost effective, what program is too much, what can we sustain, what's better for everyone. We do have our contact information on this, and I welcome a call anytime or an email. We also have Brianna Franzoni, who was intending on being here tonight, but she has a cold and I don't want, you know, she needs to get a rest. And you know Brian Saley's, we have his number, and he's more than able to partner with you guys to do the best we can.
No, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I'll open it up to you folks. If you have any questions for Mark?
This is easy.
I guess not, Mark. Mark, thank you,
Thank you.
for the data, and it's,
I
and it's,
have a quick question. Do we contact you or Brian? We've been mostly talking to Brian.
Either. It
Okay,
depends on what items. If it deals with how you do your composting and outreach stuff,
yeah,
educational things related to your day-to-day stuff,
Yeah.
Brian could be a great resource. He is a great resource on that stuff. And, or if there's anything that deals with, policy or, oversight,
Mhm.
it would be my pick.
I see. And we discussed with him this possibility of getting some grant funds and using those to buy a bunch of composters from you guys.
Yeah, we do have a grant, open grants, competitive grant, it's a rolling grant.
Yeah.
The board funded $25,000 last year.
Yeah.
And, only one person, we just awarded the first town to do some signage.
Yeah.
It's a 50% share grant. You answer 3 questions. And,
Yeah, we've got the paper.
it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you're done with that, you give it to me and I'll take a look at it.
Okay, right.
And help you with that. If you want to have questions with the grant, you can talk to him. I haven't talked to him about what's expected on that grant.
okay,
But, if he has any questions, he can ask me too.
okay.
They're pretty simple and open.
Yeah.
If you're doing composters, you would have to find out what composters you need,
Well, we talked to him about that.
okay? And you would have to pay for them, and we would reimburse half. Yeah, but the program is, what's the purpose of it, how is it gonna, what's your intention of the end result?
To reduce output into.
So we need to get the data.
Yeah.
And participants involved in the program, so you can quantify that if you were successful over the year.
Actually, yeah, okay.
Okay.
But that don't, yeah.
Mark, again, thank you.
You've got this. So,
Okay, I'm gonna jump back up to the health insurance.
so this is the November premium.
So there's a
That's the estimated
Yep.
new one. It's
And
about a
that's a-
14%.
13.8% increase for a total dollar value of $802.01 increase
And
for
that
healthcare.
assumes everyone elects the same coverage next year, which may not be the case for everyone.
That's per month.
That's per month.
Per month.
Yeah. So about an $800 increase, assuming everyone opts in at the same rate
Right.
and you offer the same coverage.
Right.
And you are currently offering this plan only, which is the most
Yep.
comprehensive, generous plan there is. And then these are the increases per, so that's single,
Right.
that's couple, and that's
Yep.
family.
Yep. Alright. And I know healthcare across the board everywhere has gone up in pricing. And that's this one, Diana. So. think last time we reached out, a different healthcare was substantially more, if I remember right.
I think, well, there's only two options.
This is the other.
That's the other one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the last time you guys compared was before my time.
Yep. Yeah, it's still about the same. It's
They're pretty
they're
close.
almost identical.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make a motion that we continue using our current healthcare, Blue Cross Blue Shield as it stands. For the increase of 13.8%. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
The ayes?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, jumping back down to the ongoing and old business, TH17 Bridge Project, feedback to the state.
So that's the Bowlesville Bridge.
Yep.
They came back, the cover letter is in your packet, and then there's a link. They provide all of their conceptual plans on this agency database link, so you have to go in there and check it out. You do not have to offer any feedback, but you're invited to offer feedback and comments by October 20th, so about a week and a half. And if there's any concerns, feedback, comments, they take that into consideration.
Right, and this is still considering that we're going with the offset bridge.
Yes.
Okay.
So the conceptual plans just kind of like rough out more specifically what that would look like, if you guys want to take a look. And then they also in this letter remind us to make contact with any property owners who may be impacted by right-of-way purchase, which we have done effective today, reached out.
Yep.
So we'll follow up. If we don't hear a response, we'll follow up with them.
Perfect.
We've invited them. There's only one property owner who would would actually be affected.
It's to the right-hand side going up.
I think
Yeah,
so.
it's on the right of the
yeah.
bridge.
It's
Yeah.
on the right of the bridge.
And the state handles the negotiation, but encourages the municipality to first just apprise them and have the conversation. So we've invited that property owner to either attend a regular meeting of the select board or schedule a special meeting with the select board to ask questions. And that person can also be in touch with the state to ask questions. So, and we've also provided them with the conceptual plans so they can see exactly what's being proposed. That's that.
Okay, perfect.
Mark, is that the bridge on Bowlville Road?
Yes, that's the one that comes to 103. That's the one that's 100% funded by the state to replace.
Well, federal.
Or federal, but we were also looking at doing an offset bridge. So instead of having it on the angle, moving it over so we have a 90-degree entrance to the hill coming down, which would allow easier access for town vehicles in, residents on that road to be able to enter and exit the bridge. So we were looking at talking to the landowner, if you're headed off of 103 up, to do a kind of a land swap. They get where the bridge was and we take the right of way. So we would kind of shift
The
property.
old bridge will remain until the new bridge is completed.
provided we go with that offset, which we did reach out for an offset. If we didn't go with an offset, they'd have to put a temporary bridge in beside the existing bridge. So we did go with the offset, so that bridge would remain until the new bridge construction was complete.
Mark,
Yes,
were you able to get hold of the land, the people that own?
reached out to them as of today
Yeah.
to talk it and see if they're interested.
They've also received previous notifications,
Yes.
so it's not
Well-
the first time they're hearing of it, but
No, we reached out to them, oh my God, months and months ago
February or January.
when we first started this.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is the second.
Okay, moving on to VEM Hazard Mitigation Program update.
So this is just an update that Jeff provided earlier today. There's 3 properties that have expressed interest in this buyout program. One owner is reviewing. As of last week, they were still interested in pursuing, but they're reviewing the paperwork. The second owner has expressed interest, but hasn't progressed beyond that point. And the third property owner has expressed interest, but was not ready to apply as of last month. So Jeff is going to continue following up to just see where everyone lands, and then we'll help. The town will authorize or sign the forms that are needed.
Right, and that was based on the flooding damages that happened to homeowners. They have an option to be bought out, so they don't have to go through this again.
Yeah. That's the update there.
So that's the update.
Yeah.
Okay, next item on the list is Mount Holly Volunteer Rescue Squad update.
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
Okay, what it was is based on the last conversation for the dollar values that had been submitted to the town for the expense of your new charter and having full-time coverage. I believe, I don't have that data with me, but I believe you were asking for almost 75K for
So that budget's still not finalized because that'll be the 2025 budget. So I'm still working on that, but the total all in from the town will be around 80,000 once I get that finalized.
And 25, you were looking for 151, if I'm not mistaken, on your sheet that you proposed.
The overall operating budget, yeah, that's what we would be around.
Okay. I know we were reaching out to, I believe Diana, you reached out to Regional, and they would consider coverage as it is existing today.
As it existing.
I did reach out to Ludlow, and I did receive a letter from Ludlow for coverage of 24, 25, and 26. Their fee for the service as part of this agreement, community ambulance service will be provided primarily coverage to the town of Mount Holly at the cost of $72 per 911 address, which equates to $88,488 based on the number of 911 addresses. Granted, that can go up as, you know, there's new 911 addresses coming in. But they did reach out, and I got this, anybody can see it, look at it. They did come in at $72 per 911 for, as I said, 24, 25, and 26. So I want to open this up to the town folks for discussion that are here. If we have any questions for Mount Holly Rescue, or for me that I can reach out to the town of Ludlow for based on their quote. Diana, you had something that somebody wanted us to read? Was it?
No, it's just to,
Okay.
we just wanted to state that if any of you from out of town, please, if you wish to speak, please stand and tell us where you're from.
Yep. So is there any? Yes, Steve.
I'll do this like speaking as an accountant or mercenary, depending on how you want to look at it. Thank you. And just a general question for like Ludlow. With the rescue, if you pay $40, they'll accept whatever Medicare or the insurance will pay, and they bill them. If you don't join, they obviously bill them some rate. Does the same thing work with Ludlow? In other words, if they're charging $70-some, but and I'm gonna assume every 911 resident pays them $40. Will they then accept whatever the insurance is? Or do they, if they come, do a call to my house, do they charge me X dollars, 500, 800, whatever it is, for showing up? And then it's up to me to go collect from the insurance.
I don't have an answer for that, but I think they bill the insurance companies directly. I think Mount Holly does that.
Yes.
Yeah, so
And-
that's what we do, we bill directly, and then what happens is we don't send a remainder invoice to anybody who has done the $40 membership. I don't know if Ludlow has a membership program, yeah, I don't know if they do or not, but that is how we do it.
I know like last year or something, they were trying to bill for number of calls, some dollar amount per call, or, for coming here. And so I thought it was a few $100s though per call. I forgot the amount. All right, 500. Are they doing that and presuming the individual will then, they're not billing the individual, they're billing Mount Holly, but then,
No, we pay,
no, I'm saying last year. They tried to bill Mount Holly $500
They
a
did.
call.
they did.
And does that mean that's what I'm gonna call the remainder after they did the
No.
insurance billing?
No.
Or they never did the insurance
They
billing
did
and they're
both.
just saying,
They charge the insurance and they tried to charge $500 per service for us, and we declined that. And again,
Right.
if we were to so choose to go down this road, which would have to go to an Australian ballot vote anyways, if we were to change, they would bill the town $72 up front per 911 address. Then any response to the town, Ludlow would bill the insurance company. And I don't know how they hold their billing, probably the same as anybody else does. I'm assuming they would do the same that Mount Holly, I think Mount Holly does it, is if Medicare, you accept what Medicare pays. And if you're a private insurance and your insurance company will only cover $300 and you didn't participate in the $40, then you would get a additional bill to the individual for the remainder of the cost.
Yeah, the question is then basically, does Ludlow do the same thing?
I'm assuming they would do the same thing. I cannot answer that, but I will reach out and find that out
Because that would
and have the questions.
Yeah, that would be key.
So,
Gets interesting with that way. They come to my house and they charge you $70-some for the pleasure of coming, and then they charge me $500 for showing up.
I think the $72 is what Ludlow will charge the town of Mount Holly, has nothing to do with
No.
the individual call.
nope,
Right.
Okay.
it's just a flat fee of $72 to take a contract to provide services to the town of Mount Holly. Then anything else would go through billing of the insurance company for the patients that is receiving that service. How they do it,
It shouldn't be any different than it is
I
anytime
wouldn't
they
think-
answer a call here,
I wouldn't think it is.
other than we're not being charged the $500 a call because we refuse that. Am I understanding that
that's right.
correctly?
That's right.
But
They're
if-
doing it under mutual aid.
But if they come here under any circumstances,
Correct.
because Mount Holly Rescue
Yep.
hasn't, then you're gonna get billed the same way as they do everybody else.
Correct.
So there won't be any $40 off because you're a member of Mount Holly,
And I
because
don't-
they're not Mount Holly.
That's right. So I do know they have contracts with other towns as well. Yes. Diane?
Mary Ann McGee.
Up top. Mary Ann?
She's not unmuted.
Can you unmute? Yes.
I'm here.
Yes.
You have your hand up.
I have some questions. Okay, for me,
Breaking up.
You're breaking up. She's muted again.
All right, I think I've hit all the right buttons now. Okay, so I have some questions that have to do with service and emergency services in particular. And having been an EMT, there's this thing called the golden hour. And if our response is coming from Ludlow, for some people in Mount Holly, a large portion of that golden hour will be lost in the time it takes to get there. Also, I have concerns about the wintertime when Ludlow is maxed out. They don't have an ambulance available. And I know regional back that up as they do now, but it may be nobody's coming, I guess is my thought. And additionally, and this is probably more personal for me than anybody, there are a lot of people in this town that have invested a huge amount of time into being willing to do this for us. And what happens to them and all the money and time that they've invested?
Yep, I do know over the past few weeks, the town has had multiple calls, multiple fatalities with zero response from Mount Holly.
We also have had a 60% increase in calls with, this plan they've put together is to meet the fact that we don't have people here during the day.
And I agree. I saw their plan and I saw the funding.
And I think we need to give them a chance. What?
Oh, I don't know.
No, there was no response. I had.
So, as many of you are probably unaware, because it's only known.
Your name, please?
I'm sorry?
Your name, please?
Oh, my name's Eric Hansen. Many of you are unaware, but as of last week, we are a full-time agency and you have been covered during the daytime hours. Currently, this is my partner Grant. We both work also at Regional Ambulance. We work here at Mount Holly, working full-time. And one thing kind of going on with the last speaker there, just as a point of information, we both do work there at Regional. They do not have the coverage. There are 4 people right now for the greater Rutland area and all the ancillary towns around it. There is not enough people to come to Mount Holly. So the other thing with Ludlow is they also cover Chester and some other towns. So where we are on their scale, whether they will say it or not, this is just known information in the EMS world of how ambulances get from place to another. We would be at the bottom of their list. They go to Springfield, they don't go to Rutland.
Ludlow will go to Rutland if you request them to go to Rutland.
They do, but it is also under the EMS provider's judgment of most appropriate facility. So if their facilities, and they have their district medical advisor
I
through.
will agree to that, but I do know there's people in Ludlow that request to go to Rutland and do get transported to Rutland.
Which is the exception, not the rule.
And
So.
They will, yes.
I say put it on the ballot. Let people decide their own.
Ted?
Ted Crawford, Mount Holly. I saw this 2 months ago in the chit chat reading the minutes, and that got me to watch the actual meeting on Opino Valley TV. As I understand what's talking about here is, was there a need to change our method of having a rescue squad? That's like people need a school. And I'm sure there's a lot of different things going on, but at the last meeting, when you guys were here, Jeff Chase requested very specific information. And the new chit chat, you welcomed an open meeting with as many citizens as possible giving input. And I think that before we can really go further, we need to know specific detail about that budget.
Absolutely.
We need to know more about the transition of the old rescue squad, Mount Holly Volunteer Rescue Squad, to Mount Holly Rescue Squad. We need to know why, as of today, there are 2 entities running, not one. We need to know about the 501c3. We need to know about the fact that the second entity came about in June of 2022 and essentially was withheld from the town. Even the annual report that the rescue squad provides annually, the town report, you made no mention of that 6 months after indeed it became a second. So I guess what I'm asking is that there be a good discussion, a very healthy public meeting, but not hypothetical like it is tonight, but bring together the facts. Wrap up with what Ludlow's saying, but you guys have got to provide us citizens, because we're going to vote on this, with very specific details. I mean, I went through because it's really got me going, but one other example is the town of Mount Holly leases that building to you. And per that lease, you can't sublet it or designate it to another office, which you've done.
No, because Mount Holly Volunteer Rescue is still the entity.
No, you have two entities now, not one. The lease calls for the leasing to one entity.
But Mount Holly Rescue isn't doing anything.
There's no need for us to argue. I'm
Right,
just
I'm just
pointing
letting
out the
you know.
reason that there's so much darn confusion in this town.
It needs to be more transparent.
There needs to be.
Everything that happens there, with all of their new corporations and everything, needs to be transparent to the town, because the town supports you.
And that was my intent, and I was literally getting ready to do that
But
when all of
this
these
happened
select
last
meetings.
June.
I did not know if they were going to approve us because of the previous instances with the 501c3.
Well, then you should have at
Nothing
least
could have
let the
happened.
town know that you were in the process of trying to do.
This is becoming a conversation.
Sorry,
You
I'm
take that to
sorry.
the chair.
But right, I'm
We
sorry.
need-
But that's not being transparent.
And to Ted's point, I do think we need to,
And that was my intent. It got derailed with meetings that have been called as I was getting ready to put those meetings together.
yes, name and.
Yep. My name is Steve Hazelton. For those who don't know me, I moved to Mount Holly about 7 years ago. Most of my career I spent as a paramedic and teaching all the rescue squads in the area. So I've got a pretty good background in EMS. I want to point out an issue that I have seen on another squad that went with paid daytime help that can have a significant impact here on the budget and on the ability of Mount Holly Rescue to continue. If you hire paid daytime help, those people by Vermont law cannot be volunteer in the same entity. If they are to respond to a call when they are not part of their job, they are either going to collect overtime or they cannot respond. So you've got two choices. You've got to either increase your budget to cover overtime for these people to respond, or you've just lost members on the volunteer side of it. That's an issue, and I have seen that happen in other squads. Not only that, Mount Holly Rescue is governed by, is run by people from within the organization. What I've also seen on other squads, when you hire paid daytime help, you now have paid help that are reporting to people who are chosen from within the organization to run the squad, who may or may not have any personnel management, any business management, any management training or skills whatsoever. I have people in EMS in Rutland County have heard me say this for years, but paid daytime help is not the answer for volunteer squads. It's a quicksand that you are stepping into.
Ted?
Just one more thing to ask. Could you guys provide minutes of meetings for, say, the last 2 years? What's odd in the chit chat, there used to be reports all the time between rescue and fire and interaction, and we all felt part of those organizations. If you go back into the chit chat about 2 years, you're gonna see maybe 3 or 4 occasions where there's been a discussion about rescue. And I'm saying this in a positive way because let the town be informed, because we're not right now, we're not even close. And I think it's pretty simple. Give us all the information you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted.
Also, last month you handed us a copy of your articles of incorporation. We only got 1 page. Is there more than just?
That's the articles. Did you also want the bylaws? Because that's a separate document.
Yes, please.
I would say, moving forward, I'd like to table this to next month's agenda.
No. Maybe we should add them to our special meeting.
Well, I want more town member here.
So we can
I want
get-
more town participation. I want to open this up, and if we have to move the meeting to the town garage so I have more space, I'm absolutely willing to do this. I'd like to reach out to the town, and I'd like to have more communication, more input, and more questions from the residents of the town to Mount Holly Rescue, and this would give you time to provide the documentation, the total overall expense costs that it's going to be to the town at that meeting. I just don't want to do it in a week. I think a week would be too short.
There's no
For
way we
something
can do
this
that.
big.
I have to leave for Boston tomorrow for my son's surgery, so there's absolutely zero way I can do
Right,
that.
so that's why I'd say next month, let's
Special meeting.
put this together, and we can do a special meeting other than the normal meeting, just strictly for the rescue issues, questions that town folks have. So why don't we do that right now for November? Our normal meeting is on the 14th. Let's set a special town meeting, and we'll take this meeting to the town garage. We'll pull the equipment out for November 21st.
Mark,
Yes.
I'd like a point of clarification, because I believe the original, and it was mentioned here, the original request that came in from the rescue squad was supporting the change of the squad.
Right.
To allow for a nonprofit. Is that the issue that is going to be resolved, or is this getting broader than that? 'Cause that was the original.
It was, and
request.
I know the board, we did not put a motion to accept that at that point in time, so that has not been accepted for that charter.
Okay.
But I think there's broader issues that is concerned amongst multiple town folks for, and I'm not throwing stones. I know everybody has lives, everybody works, including myself, but I believe the last was it a 30% response? I think at the last.
It was around there. The reality of the situation is there's 6 of us that have been trying to provide EMS coverage while also continuing to keep the organization existing and having a full-time job where an entire organization relies on me to make sure they have money. So we are doing the absolute best that we can, and that's all we can do.
Yep.
We absolutely want to support the town.
No,
We do this because that's what we like to do. And regardless, on a ballot, whatever, if you decide not to go with Mount Holly Rescue, that is the town's decision. We absolutely respect that. That being said, there will be different changes that I'm sure that you'll see. And, it's town government's.
And I don't speak for myself. I'm just looking at what's in the best interest for everybody within the town. Because I think going by a paid entity, there's an hourly rate that goes along with this. I don't know what other coverages you have for workers' comp and anything else that goes along with that. Those are hidden costs that we don't know anything about yet. That's why I was saying 80,000 I think is on the low side of what you really need, other than reaching out for grants or tapping into your reserve funds for equipment. I get it. Then going into 25, that budget went from, I think you were asking for 74 on the first one. Then it
Yeah, there was 74 with the sinking fund. We've been trying to play with the
Yep.
numbers, and we're probably not going to be asking for the sinking fund moving forward, and utilizing that for operational based off of our calculations of what's in the sinking fund at this point.
Yep. And again, I know it went from that to 25 to almost 151,000, and I still think that's on the lighter side dollar value for full-time coverage, because you're only covering the day shift hours what's going to happen at the nighttime. Because not everybody has medical issues from 9 to 5, you know? Yes,
First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for doing what you do. However, I do have a
please state your name.
Amy Turco. So my concern is that we do not have, now we have some coverage. I have a personal loss that happened over the last 2 weeks. And there was nobody that came. Thank God for some fire department help and the son taking care of his father. This is not okay.
We completely agree. We don't disagree with that statement at all. That's why we're trying to solve the
I think you're
problem.
taking it personally, and I think you need to step back a little bit. We're not trying to attack you, we're trying to get an answer. We, as a community, have lost Vicky and Denise.
Vicky, Denise, and Kristen are essentially either done now or done within the next
Your
month.
tone, please, I'm just trying to tell you. They were huge assets to our community, and we have lost that, and we need to recognize that. But we need to come up with an answer to help us that live here, to have an ambulance that comes and helps us when we're dying. Thank you.
Yes.
Dina Gates. My husband was very ill. I called Mount Holly Rescue, I think it was 3 or 4 times this year, and nobody came. Rutland came, Ludlow came. So don't make excuses. Ludlow will take you to Rutland. This is bullshit.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ted.
may I suggest you move on? You
Yes.
scheduled a special meeting.
We scheduled a special meeting. We'll bring this forward at the special meeting. I'm just hoping for numbers so we can have a good understanding of what it's gonna cost the town.
Never came.
So,
And just, if you could have somebody from Ludlow there to
Yes.
explain.
I absolutely will have Ludlow there as well.
Would
Eric?
you be able to ask if Jim Finger could come down too?
Yes,
Yep. No, absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Who's that?
Russ?
Rutland Regional.
Russ,
I just, only because we're coming into budget season,
Mm-hmm.
and this has quite honestly been going on for quite a while, years now. Wonder if we could move this along with the information, you know, and just get a decision.
Yeah, we gotta have accurate information, and we don't have that yet. We have kind of a rough draft proposal. That's why November 17th, we'll move this forward so we have an understanding.
And it's like Ted said,
Okay.
if we could have the 2 years worth of minutes,
6:30.
2 years worth of minutes.
2 years worth.
21st. I'm thinking.
From the rescue squad, your minutes, your meeting minutes.
Yeah.
It'll take a bit, but we
Yeah.
can get that, yeah.
Yes, Liz.
What's the deadline to put something on the ballot?
Mid-January.
Okay, so we got time. Okay, we're gonna stop this conversation. Oh, yes, Kathy.
I'm Catherine Heald, and I just want to know how you plan on, other than the chit chat, letting people know in the town that there is a meeting. Can it be put in the Rutland Herald, the Ludlow Journal, posted on the bulletin boards?
We'll put it in the
Because not everybody
journal.
gets the chit chat.
Yep, we'll put it in the journal, the chit chat, we'll post it, we'll put it out on the news flash for the town. We'll broadcast it, and I encourage all of you out here also to share that communication. We're gonna do it on November 21st at 6:30 at the town garage.
17th, you said.
No, it's the 21st. 17th is for this next one for us.
Oh, all right.
So I have 2 of them now.
Okay.
So,
But I would like to thank Rescue for all they've
oh,
ever
absolutely.
done for the town. It's a tough job, I know it is.
It is, especially in a volunteer organization. So, okay, we're gonna stop this on Mount Holly Rescue. We're gonna move on to dam inspection
Sorry,
report.
one thing I forgot to mention, we just need to make a motion to appoint a board member to be the authorized agent for the property buyouts. Jeff said he's willing to be that agent, but you guys just have to make a motion.
I'll make a motion
One
to
of you.
have
Yeah.
Jeff be the focal point for the property buyout.
Great, thank you.
I'll second.
The ayes?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, dam inspection report. Ted, thank you.
This is just for the record that the post-flood dam inspection report occurred.
Yep.
We've received the report. There is no action that needs to be taken. It is
Perfect.
still a high hazard dam as it has been previously. And that's it, really. Unless you
Okay.
guys have questions for the state, that's,
Nope, I think their inspection was okay. Junk ordinance complaints?
we received, several complaints from one resident regarding,
155?
137 Shunpike, which is a property that we're already aware of and have already done drive-bys and sent letters to.
Have we sent a letter since we've updated
We
the
have
ordinance?
not. We have not. We haven't received a complaint since then, so this
Okay.
is the first one.
So let's send them another letter with a copy of the ordinance
Okay,
highlighting
the changes.
the changes
Okay.
and the repercussions if they fail to comply.
Okay, the same resident also reported some concerns to the health officer who responded and did agree to, as a courtesy, talk with the property owner. The complaints, the health officer related complaints are really in the state's purview, but the health officer will try to work with the property owner to
Okay.
determine whether there's actually
Issues.
an issue or not.
Okay. Yep, so we'll just send them an updated ordinance with the letter saying clean your property.
Great.
Okay. Any others?
No other junk ordinance things, no.
Okay, I have another thing to add too, is that the fuel tank here at the town office was inspected on October 2nd of the 23 year. And they found a little oily residue on the bottom, and they will re-inspect again, but they're thinking it might possibly be needed to be changed out for a new tank,
Okay, we'll see what the next inspection does, and if it is, it is.
just so that we know.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, I think we've had enough citizens' comments
Sorry, I have one.
tonight, so
I have
you have one?
It's not from me. It's from it's via email.
Okay.
I think it's a small one.
Okay.
Sorry. Just a comment from Joan Connor that she wants to make the select board aware of the possible need for handicap parking if the Belmont store is to reopen in the future. It's just a note that she wants you to be aware of for the future.
Oh, when he was discussing it with the planning commission, he did have an indication that he was.
Oh, he was gonna
one
put-
or two.
Handicaps?
John, I'm not sure how many he said, one or two spots.
It is a requirement.
Yeah.
The issue did come up, but it's hard to know.
So it's painted, right? Okay.
Is there not a step going into the store?
There's
There's
like a porch kind of, right? Step,
Yeah.
Yep.
There is a step.
So there will have to be some kind of a ramp.
Well, this, I don't know if this is on topic, but so he does seem to have some plans to change the access to the post office, redesign it.
Actually, a big change.
With handicap
Yeah.
access, or so it's described, but there's no requirement to have any site plan review in town, so when it's poured, I guess we'll find out.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
So that's a good.
All right.
I'm gonna say real quickly. Anybody else want to say anything before I just shut it off? Nothing, Bill?
No, the meeting's in November 23rd.
Okay.
When I come, I'll here to go.
Okay. Dennis?
No, I'll have something.
Okay.
My lord, he didn't say anything tonight.
I know, that's why I asked. That's why I asked. Okay, we're gonna go on. Announcements and other business. I have nothing on here. Review and sign the orders. We will not have an executive session because we are missing one. So meeting is adjourned, and I want to thank everybody for participating tonight. And it's nice seeing town involvement. Thank you.